And now we're going to welcome to the program the head women's soccer coach for Florida Southern College, Mr. Paul Lawrence. And Coach, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So a couple of weeks ago, we had your athletic director, Drew Howard, on the program, and he was talking about this remarkable story that is this past season for the women's soccer team. So we were like, we got to get Coach on because Drew did a great job representing the story, but we wanted to get you on. So a program that was predicted in the conference to finish dead last this year, you guys won the regular season championship. Talk about that.
Yeah. Historically, it's always been that people have predicted that we would struggle. But we made it a point to the group that we would really not let that be the narrative anymore. And there was a lot of determination within the group. You had a mixture of transfers that had some good experience, some young, hungry players that I think were ready to sort of make a big statement early on in their careers. And then you had some older players that were now at the sort of peak of their careers, healthy, ready to play. Behind the scenes, I think we believed in this group, and it proved to be that it was a group that had the quality to win a lot of games at this level in the end.
Great. Wonderful. How do you, obviously, just talked about the most successful season in Florida Southern women's soccer history. Kind of what led up, and you talked a little bit about the things that led up to it, but now to be able to continue and carry that and not just be kind of that 1 year, we had that one good year back in 2022 and then kind of, decline from there. What's the success map for you moving forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've been speaking about that as a staff internally and how we're going to recruit moving forward and make sure that the players that we have within the program utilize that experience to really push us forward. We think that there's a winning culture that's starting to be developed from within now. The players that played a lot of minutes would have tasted that, but even the players that weren't really playing a lot of minutes, they would have seen what it takes to win games at this level, and they'll have a taste for that now. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're going out and recruiting, you can sell to that, you can talk about those experiences that we've already had. There's a lot of transferable skills and qualities that the group will now have. And quite honestly, I think that players within our program are ready to keep us to where we want to be. A lot of luck has to go your way as well. There's a lot of things that have to go right. So behind the scenes, we recognise that it's not as easy as just showing up with a good group of players. We've prepared them right. But as a staff, I think this is probably the best staff we've ever had. And as a unit and with the players that we have now, it's just sort of worked. It's worked really well.
Nice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys lost your first game of the year, correct? And then ran the table?
Right. Yeah.
So was that first loss like, okay, maybe they were right. We are going to finish at the bottom of the conference. But it almost like a light flipped on for this team and just ran the table.
Yeah, slow start because we've actually tied our opening non-conference games. Newbury College and Georgia College, we got off to a slow start. We were playing a different system at the time with a back three system. But we made the decision early on that we were going to change the way that we were going to play. So as a coaching staff, we've come together. We've lost our opening conference game. Having said that, prior to that, we'd had a huge win against West Florida on the road, which is historically a team that nobody beats on the road. In fact, they're currently in the NCAAs right now playing in the Sweet 16. The magnitude of that result, I think, gave us confidence. Even though we had lost, as you said, the opening conference game of the season to Nova, we'd played in a way that was fairly competitive. But we made big changes after that. We made changes to the way that we played, the way that we sort of went about our training. And in the end, it sort of proved to be the right decision because we went on, as you said, an incredible run.
Yeah, obviously an incredible season. Doesn't go by the wayside in regards to talent. Obviously yourself, Coach of the Year. Congratulations there on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What, in regards to players, what players, this year kind of made this year happen and those players that were really the forefront of carrying the season?
There's so many to mention, but when I think about the impact that our Division I transfers had, I mean, that has to be go on record as saying that was really impactful to our program. Historically, we've not really had Division I transfers, but I think I think that the world of recruitment has changed in many ways, and if you look at Morgan Colliker, who was Defensive Player of the Year coming in from Ohio University, Lindsey Meyer coming in from Northern Kentucky University, these were really impactful players for us that had significant roles to play. And then on top of that, Morgan Elliott coming in from Stony Brook University had a nice little cameo as well. But the players that were within the system, Tatum, Brooke Lowry, Caitlin Lowry, the twins, they all had massive seasons for us. And it was almost this idea of bringing in Division I transfers. The players that were within the system had now grown into their roles and were starting to peak. And then the injection of the younger players, Madison Mail, Malia from Hawaii, which is an unusual recruitment area for us. But Malia's come in and done absolutely fantastic. And Jordan King at right back as well. So it was an interesting mix of players that had the right balance, and everything worked out at the right time. So I think it's one of those sort of magical seasons which is hard to pinpoint, but a lot of things went right for us at the time.
So I'm going to call you out on something.
Yeah.
You were talking about Kentucky and Ohio. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Did you really get it through Drew Howard to expense a family trip to Hawaii in a recruitment? Is
There's
that
no
what I heard?
way. Yeah, there's no way. That Malia fell on our doorstep, and we profited from that. But we recruit everywhere, and that's the way that women's soccer is these days.
Well, I was actually going to make that point prior to you distracting me with the Hawaii comment.
That would have been nice.
Florida Southern. You know, we were talking about Gina in the previous segment with Lakeland Magic being Pittsburgh area, West Virginia. Obviously, the weather is a great recruiting tool for you and your roster, not only women's soccer, but all the teams. And we talk about Weber, Warner, Southeastern, all that, the local. But is that truly something that is part of when we're going after players? We're going to sell the destination because what a great place it is.
Yeah, we train year round, and there isn't many locations in the nation where you get to really sell that to student athletes. The training environment is particularly kind on soccer players, great facilities. This conference is dominated by programs that have wonderful facilities, and it attracts the best players. I mean, this Division II conference in many ways is comparable to a Division I level, and if you're not going after Division I talent, then you're going to struggle. So yes, it has been huge for us, but I think that right now in the world, everyone's looking for a location that they can enjoy. They can wake up in the morning and feel good about life, and that's been really key for us in our recruitment.
I know you've been at Florida Southern 6 years and 5 seasons because of the COVID year. Do you see the narrative changing when it comes to recruitment? Because we're talking about Division II, saying the conference is every bit as good as Division I. Do you see the narrative changing that it's, a lot of people, it's Division I only. You know, the ultimate goal is Division I. That's not necessarily true. There is really talented players, whether it's women's soccer there, over at Southeastern playing football or whatever. It doesn't have to be Division I. And with the portal and with players transferring the way that they are now, that narrative is going away, correct?
Yeah, I'd agree. I've been here, he said 6 seasons, and I've seen even a shift from season to season. The transfer portal has made a significant difference to the way that we go about recruitment. It's very easy now to go in and find Division I talent, and then you have to compete for that talent, and there's a sell that has to be made to that student athlete. But this conference is, I think, the strongest conference in the nation, pound for pound. The margins are so tiny. Anyone can win the conference, which I think is a lovely story about Florida Southern College with the women's soccer team there. So you can generally sell that to a student athlete about the journey, about the opportunity. But no question, if you look at the teams that we compete against from top to bottom, it's very difficult to see any player in any lineup that couldn't play at the Division I level. And I feel that I've got a squad of players that could also compete at the Division I level. So we feel really proud about what we've done from our recruitment standpoint, but also it's just an enjoyable conference to compete in. I mean, with the margins being so small and the opportunity to go represent your institution at the NCAA level with an at-large bid, that doesn't happen in every conference. So we're very proud to represent this college in the Sunshine State Conference.
Wonderful. I was just going to, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt there. I was just going to ask, so what's next? Obviously, we kind of hit on it a little bit, and Gerald was asking about it, but you're not under the radar anymore. There's going to be a bullseye on the back, right? And you said the margins are so thin. So how do you address success with this team, given that all teams are different? Unless you bring back everybody, that team dynamic is different the next year. You talked about the staff is addressing it, but what's next? How do you guys maintain the level that you're at?
Yeah, we met as a staff actually just days ago and talked about sort of our identity and how we're going to create a pathway for more players within our system to probably start producing higher levels of play. What I mean by that is that, yes, we can recruit and we can replace some of those stars that we see that have made impacts into our season, but we've got to get more out of the players that were on the fringes, the players that had roles last season that need to have bigger roles into 2023. So a lot of development needs to be made into those players through the spring season, and we need to kind of make sure that those players are aware that we're going to need them more than ever. But on top of that, it's about getting the recruitment right and making sure that we're patient as well. It's one thing to replace players, but it's another to be patient and know what you want when you want it, and to have an idea of what that player really looks and feels like. And I think we're getting closer every season to knowing what works at this level. So there'll be a level of patience with us with the recruitment. Really into the new year and into the spring season. It's about just really looking at all of our options and then building our players up from within the system and making sure that they know that they're part of our plans as well.
What would be that piece of advice that you would give someone that's at home watching this? Maybe they're in elementary school, middle school, or high school, Polk County resident. LeBron's got a commercial, I forget what the product is, talking about 100% of the things I do on the court because of the 100% of the things that I do off the court, so preparation. But as a coach that's recruiting, I talked to another coach not too long ago. It was like, when we go to games, it's not so much what's going on the field, it's watching that student athlete coming off the field or how they're dealing with adversity, how they're interacting with their coach. What would your advice be for a young player?
Yeah, we've got some really, really good connections now in different areas of the country where, as you say, we speak to certain coaches that we trust, and that's trust based on them as a character and as a human being. I think that we're going to spend so much time with these student athletes over a 4-year cycle, so you need to know that you can trust them and you have those levels of respect for them as an individual. But starting the recruitment process early has been something that we found to be really, really key. So you build that relationship with that player over a period of time rather than a quick recruitment. Those players have always been really good to us, and we've really trusted what we're going to get out of that player once they arrive on campus. So as you say, it's about sort of making those connections with as many people as possible, and starting the recruitment process as early as possible. That's what we like to do. But what I can tell you is that there is no one way to do it. There's so many ways to kind of go about this recruitment. And for a student athlete that's looking at playing at the collegiate level, there's so many different ways to find your opportunity. But for me, it's about finding a school that you believe is generally interested in you, and then building that relationship with the coaching staff over a longer period of time rather than rushing it, is my opinion on that.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, Coach, again, congratulations. Coach of the Year, conference champ, and all those accolades. And we look forward to having you back on next year where you tell the story of we did it once and we backed it up.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos from Sports Central, click the video below and be sure to like, share, and subscribe.